Here today we have myself, Derek Wood, the Partner Product Manager here at SOS, also joined by Ken Shaw, our CEO.
Good morning, everybody.
And Shaylin Herrick, our Director of Business Marketing.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
And today we're going to go through why our program is terrific and how it's going to help you make money. Really enter the managed service market, hitting the ground running and getting in and giving your customers the best services that you possibly can. So to start with an overview of SOS, an industry overview, I'll hand it over to Ken Shaw.
Okay. Well, just a little background on SOS for those of you who aren't familiar with us. We've been in the industry a long time, going back to 2001 in Australia. We've been a US-based company since 2006, generally recognized as one of the sort of founding companies of the industry. What sets SOS apart, two sort of big things from your perspective. First is our technology. We've always tried to lead the market from an R&D standpoint and be really pushing the envelope in terms of the sorts of features and functions that come from an online backup company. We're seeing more and more collision between the technology provided by traditional backup companies like Legato and Veritas, Symantec, with what online backup companies like SOS can deliver to you. Except these days, a company like SOS can deliver that same sort of functionality for about a fifth of the cost of what those other incumbent enterprise software vendors can provide you. So it's been an interesting, let's go back a slide, Derek. It's been an interesting transition as the industry's matured. The other big thing about SOS is really our focus on the channel. So we were the first of the major online backup companies to really focus on the channel. There's now lots of companies imitating us, but we've got the largest channel program globally, we believe. We've certainly got what we believe is the strongest channel partner program, one of the highlights of which being that we give more than 50% margin to our partners. So with our hallmark product, SOS Server Save, it sells for $130 a month, and you can buy it for as little as $35 per month, which is a roughly 75% margin share for you. So it's an outstanding product with an outstanding partner program that you're going to hear about today. Looking at the industry at a high level, and I won't bore you too much with the economics of it, but we're at an interesting inflection point in the online backup business where traditionally online backup was viewed as sort of lightweight backup. It was file and folder based, it was for workstations and endpoints. But as I was saying a moment ago, it's matured now to the point where the capabilities of online backup products like SOS's are now on par with those coming from the major enterprise software vendors like Quest, Veritas, Symantec, etc. And what that's leading to is a pretty significant adoption of online backup by businesses. So whereas if you look at the IDC data, the online backup industry globally is a $1.3 billion industry, and that's surging to being a $3.5 billion industry 24 months from now. What's driving that? Mainly business adoption. So in the bottom right-hand corner of this slide, we've got some interesting statistics from IDC, and this is in a research report that you can get from our partner specialists if you call in. Excuse me, but the highlight of the report is really that although 69% of businesses surveyed said they are intending on deploying online backups, only 16% of them actually have done so thus far. So there's a pretty significant opportunity to ride that wave of business adoption of online backup among your customers and even to help you acquire additional customers. And that's really what our partner program is all about, is getting you in the online backup business. For those of you who are already MSPs, we're kitting you out with the best online backup technology on the market. For those of you who are not yet MSPs, we're giving you all the tools you need to make that transition and start earning nice, profitable, recurring revenue. This slide just talks to that surge in business adoption, and the fundamental driver behind this is what we call the price functionality inflection point, which is just a fancy way of saying that what SOS does today is as good as what EMC can do for your clients, but about 80% cheaper, right? So the value proposition here for your customers is win-win-win. It's a better backup for them at a much better price for them with a margin to you of, call it 50%. And SOS is obviously very happy because we're growing rapidly and quickly becoming one of the more established online backup vendors globally. So again, you've got price parity, or the price of online backup is in fact lower than the price of competitive enterprise products, but you've got functionality parity. So I gobbled that a little bit, but it's a better backup at a better price, to put it into the marketing jargon. What's driving that from a functionality standpoint? Things like total data protection. So what do we mean by this? We really mean we've got widgets to back up everything. So we can back up iPhones, we can back up Androids, we can back up Macs, we can back up PCs, workstations, laptops, Exchange servers, SQL servers. Wherever the data is sitting in the enterprise, we've got a product that can actually back that up. So then another big functionality driver is centralized management. If you're managing that many different heterogeneous endpoints, you need a system that can allow you to run it all from one single pane of glass. That's where the SOS Pulse product comes in. Then just looking at some of those endpoint technologies themselves, the fact that we can back up SQL Server, the fact that we can back up Exchange Server, the fact that we've got granular Exchange recovery at the database level, of a mailbox level, of a message level. All of this type of functionality with both the breadth and the depth is quite unusual in one backup solution. If you went and look at, say, the product portfolio of Quest Software, you would need to buy 2 or 3 of their products and glue them together to get the same totality of functionality you get from SOS. The cost would be about 5x what it would be if you bought SOS. Same is true of Symantec. If you went and bought Backup Exec with all the plugins you need for SQL and Exchange, and then you bought their online backup connector package and then paid them the $8 per gig per year that they charge, again, your accumulated cost for that package would be 4 or 5 times what it would be with SOS. And then sort of as an engineer, I look at that and I'm bummed out by the fact that their solutions just don't cover as much. You can't back up iPhone data or Android data with any of those competitive solutions. You can't access your data anywhere in the world with any of those solutions. So I would argue that their products are actually inferior to where our products are today, and yet they still cost 4 or 5 times as much. And we're going to see all this in the product demo that Derek's going to do for you. But any questions for me? We've got quite a few people on the line. We like to keep these things as interactive as possible. Usually that kicks in when we actually start demoing the software itself. But any questions so far? If you're not familiar with the GoToWebinar software, there's a questions module where you can type a question in. I'm not quite sure how it shows up on your end of things. I think it's a little question mark button. Todd Gianti says, I probably mispronounced that, Todd, I'm sorry. Does the server backup also back up Oracle and other DBs? Todd, we don't have native Oracle support yet, but that is coming. So today the native database backup support is all Microsoft land, so it's SQL Server, but Oracle will be coming. All right, well, if you've got any other questions, please do use the questions tool and we'll answer them. But while you're thinking on what that is, let's hand it over to Derek for more detail on what the program actually involves.
All right, thanks. So the SOS 360-degree partner program, the reason we call it the 360-degree partner program is we really wanted to go that step further than everyone else we'd seen in the market. For the majority of our company's existence, our partner programs were slightly limited when it came to a mass availability option. So we started off 2005 to 2009 with light affiliate structure programs. You put a sign-up link on your website and you get a kickback at the end, usually pretty small revenue share type of situation that you're all familiar with. At the same time, we had these large strategic relationships with larger retail vendors, and we wanted to take that strategic relationship we had with them and translate it into something that was scalable to meet the needs of the SMB market, which is what we have in today's partner program. More than just providing partner program, or more than just providing the software for you to go sell, part of the strategy was how do we get these guys out in the market as soon as possible? And it's been a few iterations of the program that we've finally gotten to where we are today. One of the big differentiators we have is being able to say that we're truly giving you a business in a box. What allows us to say that is we're not just giving you a piece of software. We're also doing some rebranding of the software so for some brand identity, that desktop presence. Beyond that, we saw that partners were spending a lot of time with API integration. So if you want to integrate into a certain billing system, a lot of our partners were spending anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 and upwards of $15,000 or $20,000 to integrate our APIs into various systems so that they could start launching this from a business perspective. As most of you know, just adding a quill, so to speak, to your service listings is the easy part. The difficult part is getting that collateral out there, being able to actually provide and charge for the new service that you're offering. So what we've done is we went a step further and we said, okay, let's do what we can to kind of productize an API integration, and what we've come out with is a premier web integration package for all of our partners. The web integration package, we have a screenshot of it here down at the bottom, and I'll show it in a little more detail at the end of the demo. Includes integration into various systems. So we integrate into PayPal, PayPal Standard, PayPal Pro. eWay integration is coming out this week for the Australian partners on the line, and also Authorize.net. So all you have to do is plug in your credentials into our panel, and you can start charging your customers from your website and start generating those passive sales. We've also integrated in a very simple to use WikiWik, or visual editor. What you see is what you get, and it's a very simple CMS where you're allowed to go in, manage the content, so the content management system, and you can change items for SEO optimization. So you have global keywords, global descriptions, global titles for your website, as well as page-specific titles, keywords, and descriptions. And this is all part of really developing your SEO strategy as a young business, being new into managed services and new into the passive sales mentality. Most of our partners deal primarily word of mouth. Not a lot of marketing effort outside of being referenced from customer to customer. And I guess from a show of hands, we could probably see who here today falls under that line. Like, how many of you currently today have passive sales available on your website, meaning any customer can come to your website and purchase something from you? And as those come in, we see a few already. So it looks like very few actually, only one so far actually has it. So this is something that, it may not be a focus, but if you can generate revenue from another source, who are we to turn that down? So we wanted to make that available for you. We also have regular live webinars every week. So myself and other staff get involved in discussing strategies for marketing, sales, how do you get out there in the market. We also do technical training, so level 1 support, so that if you're out on site and you're installing the software, you know exactly what to look for if you see some sort of unique issue with the backup not working, just your basic usage settings. And we have this live so that it can be very open and have a lot of participation in it. So if you have questions, we have a lot of partners who come in first during their project when we're delivering out the rebranded software and the web package, and then they come back usually a week or two after they're delivered with some specific questions that they've seen that they've been live.
And I think this is a really important point to mention. None of this comes at an additional fee. This is an all-inclusive package. This slide here is a competitive comparison that shows how our reseller program, including the materials that we offer, the rebranding flexibility that we offer, compare against Intronis, Doyen, Zasigra, and XZ. Of course, there are many other competitors in the space, but these are some that we come across quite frequently. Partner support is clearly a big, important thing to all of you guys, since you might be partners someday. We have a partner hotline that's available to you in the partner dashboard that connects you immediately with a representative in this office, and they will be able to help you with any administrative or technical questions that you have. We have a fantastic little tool called the Partner Resource Center, and that includes all of your installation and user guides, your rebrandable marketing materials, your rebrandable sales materials, and of course your website template that we just discussed will be customized with your colors and your business logo. We also offer integrated and hosted billing. So like Derek was just talking about how you can very easily sell online backup over your own website that's using this website template that we offer. It's hosted and integrated billing. It's super easy to get started. It takes about 3 weeks, and you will be generating passive sales on your website. Another really important point about our infrastructure is that we have more data centers probably than any of our competitors out in the market. We have 11 data centers worldwide. They're located in the United Kingdom, the US, Canada, Australia, India, and Ukraine. If you are perhaps in the UK or in Canada, you may want your data to stay in the UK or Canada, and that's absolutely available with us. Just let your partner specialist know.
Yeah, and moving around through that, it's also nice to know that we're not outsourcing the infrastructure work. So the NOC services, it's all SOS employees. So if we have any infrastructure issues or questions, we don't have to go knocking on someone else's door.
No pun intended.
So we have there's a lot of options out there, especially with the Amazon S3 services. And not to bang on Amazon, I think the S3 services was a great idea of how to utilize and generate revenue out of stagnant hardware. You know, Amazon grew and grew and grew, and then all of a sudden the market dropped out, and they had all this stagnant hardware sitting around, so they started leasing it. Terrific idea. But when it comes to backup, and it doesn't really meet what we require as far as the security being in who's staffing the infrastructure monitoring services. Is it someone that they have to go knock at, or is it their own staff? And we figured that's very important. Also, with the data center structure that we have, we're one of the few in this list, the only company that's doing a dual offsite backup, which we'll talk about a little more when we get into security. But that means we're not just backing up to a single data center here in the U.S. and that's it. And oh yeah, they're RAID configured. We have tier 3, tier 4 rated, of course. But we're actually duplicating that data to a completely geographically separate data center. And that type of security is something that is ahead of the curve, and that's been our mantra, is being ahead of the curve of security at all times. So in 2009, HIPAA came out with new requirements for locally encrypted backup. We already had that option available. And when HIPAA comes out with additional requirements for dual offsite backup, we've already been there since inception. And that's really the focus of our program, is not only are we giving you the only end-to-end solution, but at a security measure that's unmatched.
Are there any questions? We are more than happy to answer any and all questions about the program, software, etc. But right now we are going to jump into the product suite and give you guys an overview of everything that's offered in software.
So this slide actually ties back to what I was saying earlier, which is the company's goal and sort of philosophy on product development level has always been to back up all data in a company, no matter where. Now, Todd highlighted that we still don't have Oracle support, and we will have Oracle support, but we'll see how that fits into our overall product philosophy on this slide. On the left, we've got Cloud Life, Desk Life, and Mobile Life, and this is just talking to 3 different sort of pools of data that are important to businesses, but also particularly important to consumers. So SOS has got products to back up your Desk Life, which is notebooks and workstations, PCs and Macs. We've also got products to back up your mobile life. We back up the iPhone, we back up the Android. This is pretty important, I feel like, because there is no other online backup company that does this. Now, a lot of the other online backup companies position themselves as having mobile applications, but it's misdirection. They really don't. They've got apps on mobile phones that let you get at your files, which SOS and Mozy and Carbonite have had since, 2008. So we're really the only online backup company that's actually protecting that mobile endpoint data, which is key. We've started to push into cloud-to-cloud backup. So today we're backing up Facebook, which seems a little bit gimmicky, but it's not when you consider where that's going to go. Soon we'll be backing up Twitter data, then we'll be doing Google Apps data. After that, we'll allow you to back up your Salesforce.com data, your NetSuite data. So there's a need to back up cloud data, and again, SOS's mantra is, if there's data out there that's important to a business, we're going to have a tool that can back it up and allow you to manage it with one single pane of glass. On the right-hand side, we've got more traditional server room data. So at the bottom, we've got file data. Probably the most common deployment of online backup software is to back up file servers. At 3 o'clock on the clock, we've got app data. So SQL Server data, Exchange Server data, SharePoint Server data. Probably the most common use case for us here is Exchange Server backup and recovery. So with EGR, which you're going to see in a second, which stands for Exchange Granular Recovery, we can even recover down to the message level. So very powerful Exchange and SQL Server backup and recovery tools. And then at the top right, or at 1 o'clock, we've got system state data. So this is taking full bare metal images of your computers, getting them up to the cloud, even converting those images to virtual machines and letting you run them in the cloud as an optional service that you can request from us on demand. So a full suite of services that backs up all of your data no matter where it sits, and Todd will have Oracle pretty soon.
We're going through, again, the SOS Server Save program features and benefits. So again, as Ken mentioned before and as the previous slide showed, we are providing you with a tool for Exchange backup and granular recovery. We're also providing a bare metal image creator tool, which we call Image Creator. So this allows you to take a full image of a system volume. Online Backup and Recovery Manager is your tool for getting files off-site, so whether it's the image-based files, just your Exchange database, and also recovering that information from our SOS cloud. The Workstation Backup is just a tool that has a little heavier branding on it, and it's designed specifically